Today I need to wash her car. It's looking pretty awful thanks to the rain and then the dry weather. We've had the pollen, we've had dust, we've had all sorts of stuff. It's really looking horrid, which is great because I get to test products again. So today I'm going to be trying out products from a brand called Reaper Detailing. So Reaper is a brand which was recommended to me by a follower on Instagram. He said, you should try them out. I said, that would be interesting. Maybe I will at some point. Anyway, he got in touch with Reaper. Reaper got in touch with me and said, can we send you some stuff? I said, yes, please. They said, have a look on our website and pick what you want. It's always difficult for me because I never know what to pick, and they do have a large range on their website. It was very difficult to come up with any ideas for something I really wanted, but there was one particular product which I was really interested in trying, and Chris said, why don't you choose that one and I'll pick some of my favorites, I'll send them across to you. I said, great. So we'll have a look at what they've sent. First is Knuckles shampoo. This one is a high concentration, it's 500 to 1. So I'm going to be using about 10 litres of water, meaning I should get away with about 20 milliliters of shampoo into the bucket of water. That's pretty good going. Also, it's meant to have a jelly bean scent, and yeah, yes, definitely smells of jelly beans. Next up, we've got Bleed. Bleed is an iron fallout remover. I am not sure if I'm going to get any footage of this today because the cars haven't been used very much. They've been cleaned very regularly, so I can't imagine there's going to be much fallout sitting there right now. No guarantees I'm going to see anything with this, but that would be the case for any iron fallout remover because I use them a lot. Next up is their spray sealant, again with a really good trigger here. This is Hydra. This is a spray-on, rinse-off protection product. So wash your car, rinse it off, leave it wet, spray this on, and they say it can last up to 4 months. I like that kind of product. And finally, the product that I was really interested in, not finally, hang on, there was a towel included in here, a microfiber. Have a quick look at this. This is an edgeless microfiber. Very nice. It's a nice big square. Looks like a 30 by 30, 40 by 40 maybe centimeter. Yeah, around about that. Nice edgeless towel. Pretty soft, pretty plush, not too deep pile. That could be useful. However, the one I wanted to show you, the one I'm really interested in, this is the one I asked for specifically. It's called Overthrow. And here you can see this is a polymer and wax remover. This one's going to be very interesting to see how it works actually, because part of me thinks that it's a panel prep, but it's dilutable. But that's very interesting about this. It says it's concentrated. It can be diluted up to 10 to 1, and I might try that actually in a separate bottle. But I'd also like to try it neat. The reason I wanted to try this is because her car has 5 different waxes on it, plus a sealant on the bonnet and on the wing and on the door. So I want to see, first of all, if there's any of that protection left over, and secondly, if this will remove it at the various dilution ratios. We'll give that a try. It'll be very, very interesting to see how this works. But it does say it's designed to remove any grease and oil buildup, leaving a clean, fresh surface ready for you to apply new sealant and wax layers. So it's not just a panel prep. It does really talk about how it's supposed to remove waxes and polymer sealants. That's going to be very interesting to try. Anyway, enough chat. Let's take it out to the car. So obviously the first job is to rinse off any loose dust, dirt and debris on the car. And it wasn't really too bad, this car, to be perfectly fair, but you can see there is some protection remaining in certain places from previous tests. The snow foam of choice today is Alien Magic's Krypton Green Snow Foam, partly because it's fun, partly because I already had some mixed up. And it's a good cleaning snow foam. You can see here I was trying to do something with the smartphone mounted onto the gun. It didn't really work out the way I'd hoped. But this is a nice snow foam to use. It smells minty, and it certainly gets the neighbours' curtains twitching. Now on to the Knuckles shampoo, and this was a nice shampoo actually. It had a decent amount of suds
It had a decent amount of slickness to it, and it was a decent all-round shampoo with good dilution ratios. Honestly, I can't really complain about this shampoo. I could smell the jelly bean scent as I was going around, which made it a bit more pleasurable to use, and the suds lasted throughout the wash, which was nice. I'm rinsing it off quickly here though, because it was a very sunny, very warm day. I didn't want the suds to dry. Moving on to Bleed, this is the iron fallout remover. You can see this is soapy looking, very foamy and bubbly. I've used another iron fallout remover just like this one. I wasn't sure though if there would be any iron fallout on the car, considering the car gets a regular dose of stuff like this, and it hasn't really been used all that much thanks to the lockdown, but given a bit of time, and you could see it was certainly reacting on the wheels. Even though these are painted wheels, you can see the red of the iron fallout remover dissolving the iron oxide, the rust that forms around your iron fallout. There's some more on the paint too. So it's certainly doing what it's supposed to do. I can't really complain there. Plenty of little red spots you can see, and even on the mirror there, that's always a good catcher of iron fallout. But I'm having to move quickly because I don't want any of this to dry out, so again, another thorough pressure rinse to remove what I can. It's starting to dry there, but thankfully we're catching it just in time. And this way I'm blasting off any of that iron fallout which has been loosened up by the removal of the iron oxide. And yes, I know the wheels do need some attention. Now here I'm just showing what kind of protection has already been applied to the bonnet here. I had 3 separate paste waxes on the top half of the bonnet. The top left and top middle were carnauba waxes. The top right was a blended carnauba and synthetic ceramic wax. You can see it is definitely repelling the water faster, but the 3 carnauba paste waxes at the top are certainly doing a decent job. You can see there they're not beading a huge amount, but they are still sheeting the water, which is nice. The bottom sections had spray waxes. The bottom left was a carnauba spray wax, the bottom middle was a ceramic spray wax, and the bottom right was a cleaner wax. They are still sheeting water, they're just taking their time about it. Not super fast, but it's still coming off, as you can see there. This means there is still protection which needs to be removed. There's an idea of the beading. The ceramic has tighter beads than the 2 carnaubas up the top. The carnauba spray and the ceramic spray not doing too badly, and the cleaner wax as well. So there is definite protection there that needs to be removed. Here I'm using Overthrow diluted at 10:1. This is the maximum dilution that they recommend. And you spray it onto a wet car, which I find very interesting. I originally had dried this panel off, preparing to apply this product. But it turns out you apply it to a wet panel after you've washed and rinsed it. It does mention apply liberally, and at a 10:1 dilution ratio, that means it's going to go quite some distance. You're going to get quite a few applications from the bottle. A few sprays onto the microfiber as well, and it says you can agitate on the panel with either a microfiber or a wash mitt. And all I'm doing here is I'm wiping and spreading and moving it around in the hope that this agitation will remove those waxes remaining on the bonnet. It then says to make sure you rinse it thoroughly, so I'm removing all the residue that I can from the bonnet here. We're having a look to see how much water is left, how much wax is left. So you can see there is still a little bit of sheeting from the very top of the bonnet, but from the main central panels, it's almost dead. It really is dying there now, that wax. Compared to how it worked before, those are the two carnubas. The top right though, that's the ceramic infused wax, and it's still holding on well. That's expected of a ceramic wax. So, to be fair, it needs another hit. So this time, I'm just going full bore. I'm using the product neat, spraying it liberally across the whole panel. Very good trigger sprayer on this. And again, on a fresh side of the microfiber after a couple of sprays there, wiping over. Something I did find which was interesting was the more I wiped this over, the soapier it felt underneath the microfiber, and it was starting to get sodden with what felt like soapy suds in the microfiber. I found that very strange. You can see some of it just streaking across the bonnet there. But I did feel it was picking up more and more wax. So again, a good strong rinse to remove any residue from the panel. And also what you can see there is no repellency at all. The water is now sticking flat to the panel. There is no repellency from any part of that bonnet. So the overthrow has defeated all of the waxes, including the ceramic wax too. And this is great because now I have a totally unprotected panel which I'm going to add protection to in the form of Hydro. This is their spray on rinse off protection product. Up to 4 months is what they claim you'll get from this, and I'm using a bit more than I usually would because there is a fairly strong crosswind here, bit of a cross breeze going over the bonnet. So I wanted to make sure I was getting enough onto the panel rather than it misting away. Left for a few seconds, give it a quick rinse, and as you can see, where once there was no protection, now there is plenty. Lots of beading going on, and if the panel becomes flooded, it will sheet too. There's the flooding. If you create a sheet, it will pull away many of the beads. Very nice protection.
Okay, that's the car done. It's looking good. What about the verdict on the products? We'll start with the shampoo. That was a nice shampoo. 20 milliliters to 10 liters in the bucket. Worked well, gave nice suds if you like that kind of thing. I know suds are not super important, but I like suds. They stayed throughout the wash. They didn't tail off at all. The smell was nice. I could smell it while I was washing the car. There was a decent amount of lubrication in the shampoo as well, which I really like. So this was a good shampoo. I can't really fault it at all. It worked well. Then the iron fallout remover, Bleed. It's an iron fallout remover. There's not much to say about it. It does come out kind of foamy. You could see it there. It was kind of bubbly as it was coming out. But as an iron fallout remover, it worked. It worked effectively. It worked quickly. I could see the purple coming from the iron oxide being dissolved, which was great. So that was effective. It certainly worked well. Then Overthrow. This is an absolutely fantastic product. Like I say, you could use this neat, but you could mix it up. I have a 10-to-1 dilution here, which is great. It actually did work. On the Carnauba waxes, it almost completely removed them, and I think maybe a second go might have got rid of them completely, but it didn't quite hit the ceramic wax, the silica wax that was on the top right of the bonnet there. That's to be expected because silica-based products, SiO2-based products, are more chemical resistant. They're more everything resistant compared to regular natural waxes. So this didn't quite hit it, and it would have needed a few goes, but hit neat, it was completely killed with this. That was fantastic. So I reckon it would be worth having this at 10 to 1, then maybe another one at 5 to 1, and that would just mean that this bottle will go further. It's a 500ml bottle. Using it neat, you'll go through it quickly, but make up some dilutions and it'll work quickly. It's also interesting that it goes on to wet panels. I originally dried off the panel before I was going to use it, but the instructions are use it on a wet panel, spray liberally and wipe over with a microfiber towel or a wash mitt. It's an excellent idea. It's something I'm going to keep using for some time. And lastly, Hydra. This is a spray and rinse sealant product. We've seen many of these on the market. This one is just as good as most others. Like I say, it's got that good quality Canyon trigger sprayer on there. Makes it nice and easy to get a good adjustment. And it's easy to use. It's a good solid trigger. And it seemed to work very well. I used it on the bonnet with no problem. I also used it on the glass afterwards, and it worked great. So it will provide protection. As you saw before, the overthrow had removed all protection, and this had put protection on there. So it worked really well. Sadly, I didn't get round to using the microfiber towel. That's because this is really a buffing towel, so I'm going to keep this for when I will have something like a wax or a sealant that I do require to buff off. But from what I could feel so far, it is very nice. I'll keep that for a future video. Anyway, thank you very much to Reaper Detailing for sending out these products to me. They have been very good. I'm very happy with them. Thanks also to Chris on Instagram for reaching out to me and recommending the company too. If you guys liked this video, please go ahead and smash that like button. If you're new here, make sure you subscribe to the channel, and while you're there, make sure you ring the notification bell so you don't miss my next video uploads. In the meantime, I've been Specky. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.